Imagine walking into a laundromat at 10 p.m. and realizing that every single machine is running. That hum you hear? That's the sound of money being printed. Legally, laundromats have often been called one of the most recession-proof businesses in America. But are they really the hidden cash cows investors say they are? Today we're diving into the real numbers, the pros and cons, and whether owning a laundromat is worth the spin. By the way, if you're new here, welcome. This is Hidden Income, where we break down the hidden businesses most people overlook, but that can quietly generate serious cash flow. If you're curious about building wealth in unexpected ways, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next video. Alright, let's get back into it. Starting with a little history of laundromats and why this old school business is still thriving in 2025. Laundromats, or coin laundries, first popped up in the 1930s back in Texas. Back then, not everyone had home washing machines, so sharing made sense. Fast forward almost 100 years, and the business model hasn't really changed much. Clean clothes in, dirty clothes out. The core problem laundromats really solve is simple. Not everyone has the space, money, or access to their own washers and dryers. Think about students in dormitories, renters in big cities, or professionals whose apartments are the size of a shoebox. Even today, with all of the tech we have, laundromats remain essential. Here's a statistic that might actually surprise you. About 35% of US households are renters. That's tens of millions of people who may not have laundry machines at home. Your typical laundromat customers may include students and young professionals, often living in apartments or dormitories, families in cities where space is limited, and even small businesses like restaurants or salons that may need towels and uniforms cleaned. And it's not just a necessity, some people choose laundromats because the machines are bigger and faster. Imagine washing an entire week's worth of laundry in under an hour instead of spending all of Saturday at home swapping loads. However, do keep in mind that location is everything. The best laundromats are usually near dense apartment housing, universities, and transit hubs. You probably won't really see one in a luxury neighborhood where everyone has a laundry in unit, but put one in a busy urban area or a working class suburb and you'll have a steady stream of customers day and night. Some laundromats even turn into community hubs, people hanging out, charging their phones, and watching TV while their clothes spin. Okay, let's talk money. What does it take to start? Building from scratch, expect anywhere from $200,000 US to $500,000 for a mid-sized store. Considering a premium location with dozens of machines, well, that can cost over $1 million. Buying an existing laundromat, well, here the range is even crazier. Anywhere from $25,000 for a struggling store to over $1 million for a high-performing one. So which one is better? Building gives you full control, new machines, modern payment system, and your own branding. However, it may take months to build, costing you money but making no income in the process. You also have to rebrand and attract customers from scratch. You'll be in a new community and have to build clientele. Buying saves a lot of time, and you can already buy a successful business with a loyal customer base, skipping the whole building your brand part. The catch? You might inherit outdated machines or hidden plumbing problems, and oftentimes buying an already successful business may be a lot more expensive, hence the $1 million listings. Let's say you found a good business to buy or build. Once you're in, here's the expenses that you'll be looking at. Number 1 is equipment. Washers cost about $5,000 to $7,000 each, while dryers $6,000 to $10,000. They last about 10 to 15 years each, but repairs can be very pricey. Number 2 is utilities. Your biggest recurring costs will be water, gas, and electricity, which expect to run about $3,000 to $6,000 a month. Number 3 is rent, lease, anywhere from $2,000 in smaller towns to over $10,000 in big cities. Number 4 will be labor. Some laundromats are mostly unattended. Others hire staff for wash and fold or drop-off services, which can run an additional $2,000 to $8,000 monthly. And lastly, number 5 is insurance and permits, running around $500 to $2,000 a year, depending on the city in which you live. So you might be wondering, that's a lot of money to put down. How much can I really make off of these machines? Well, a well-run laundromat can break even in about 12 to 24 months. Full ROI, or return on investment, is usually closer to 2 to 3 years. But the range is huge and the possibilities are endless. Some owners report just scraping by, while others pull in 6 figures plus in profit annually. What are the big factors, you might ask? Well, number one will be your rent and utilities, how much they cost monthly, and how much you're spending. Number two will be number of machines. Number of machines in your laundromat can increase the amount of profit that you make over a certain period of time. Number three is your area. Your location will be one of the most important parts for your laundromat. And number four, whether you offer extra services like wash and fold, vending machines, or even selling detergent on site might make you a little more money. A quick fun fact is that many laundromats don't really rely on quarters anymore. Some run on cards or even apps that track loyalty points. Think of something like Starbucks, but for socks. Alright, let's look at a real-world example. Here's a laundromat for sale right now in New York City. The asking price? $200,000. According to the listing, it's generating about $260,000 a year in gross revenue. With seller discretionary earnings, basically, the owner's take-home cash flow is about $81,000. So what does that really look like in practice? Let's run the numbers. If you put down 20%, that's a $40,000 upfront investment. The remaining $160,000 would typically be financed with a loan. At an interest rate of approximately 10%, that comes out to roughly $2,100 a month in loan payments. Assuming the listing's numbers are accurate, and remember that's always a big assumption, your net cash flow after recovering debt and expenses would be about $55,600 a year. Now here's where it gets a little interesting. The cash flow multiple, revenue multiple, and default rates all outperform industry averages, but the profit margin sits at about 31%, which is a little below the industry benchmark of 36%. Still, the big upside here is speed to profitability. At these numbers, you'll recoup your initial $40,000 down payment investment in less than 1 year. To be exact, 8.5 months. After that point, it's all profit. Now you might be thinking, if this is so profitable, why would anybody sell? Well, in this case, the owner is retiring, and that highlights something important. While it can be tough to find laundromats with strong numbers at a reasonable price, opportunities do pop up, often when longtime owners step away. The key is being ready to move in when they move out. Well, you might be wondering if this business is the right business for you. Well, let's spin through the pros and cons. Pros? Number one, you'll have a steady recession-resistant demand. No matter the economical state, you will always have business. Number two, cash flow businesses with minimal marketing. Oftentimes, you'll just need a small and loyal customer base in a small community to pull consistent and steady profit. And number three, you can run it pretty passively if you left it unattended. However, some of the cons can be number one, a high startup cost. Number two, large utility bills that may eat into your profit margins. Number three is equipment repairs can be a big nightmare with how expensive that they are. And number four, it ultimately comes down to location. The location will make or break your business. In other words, laundromats are consistent but not glamorous. They're not a gold rush, but more like a slow, steady drip of income. Here's the thing, laundromats aren't for everyone. If you're dreaming of building the next flashy tech startup, then this isn't it. But if you want a business that provides a necessary service and doesn't really require you to chase customers, and one that you can scale once you master one location, then laundromats might just be your hidden gem. So now you know the truth. Laundromats can be solid money machines, but they require serious upfront cost and investment, careful location selection, and ongoing maintenance. Would you ever consider owning a laundromat after watching this video? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I've also dropped all of the sources below if you'd like to take a look for yourself, and if you find this breakdown helpful, please hit a like button and subscribe, and stick around because the next video will be diving into another quiet cash flow business that might surprise you. See you in the next video.